What's up, everybody? Trevor here again. It's July 22nd, 2016, and I'm coming to you from New Orleans, Louisiana again. It is wet, rainy, and thundering outside, so like I promised in my last video, I'm going to knock out another country update and get Sweden out of the way, and I'll get you guys updated on some of what I've been reading too, so if you need some books to go check out, I got you covered. So, I was in Sweden from June 22nd to 29th, caught a flight up from Budapest. Low-cost airlines in Europe are amazing. So my flight from Budapest to Stockholm was 20 bucks. My checked bag fee was $30, but I'm still not complaining. 50 bucks for 2-3 hour flight. Really hard to beat. Definitely not going to beat that in the US, that's for sure. So flew to Stockholm and met up with my grandparents and my dad and my sister. Unfortunately, I was not feeling so hot for most of my time there in Stockholm, and I don't have anybody to blame but myself. So before my flight to Stockholm, my flight got delayed like 2 hours, so bought a bottle of Johnny Walker and killed like that half liter before my flight. So on the plus side, I slept through the entire flight, woke up in Stockholm, and then caught a bus from the airport to downtown Stockholm, slept the whole bus ride, got to the hotel, and then I just ate a bunch of cheese. I think brie, if we want to get specific, but I woke up the next day and my stomach was destroyed, and between not being able to eat and sitting on the toilet half the day, it was not an enjoyable experience. So I really wasn't feeling so hot, but we did get up to a couple different things. We did a few different boat tours. One was a shrimp tour, which is kind of like a dinner cruise, but all you get is bread and cold shrimp. So as you can imagine, that was not a great combo for me and my stomach trouble I was having. So didn't enjoy that one very much. Next day we did an archipelago tour, which was like an all-day experience. Went out through some of the different canals and out to some of the archipelagos. We actually stopped at one that had an old Swedish fort that used to be used for defense, but that was a nice one. I will be warned, it was an all-day experience, and our tour guide was loud and really loved to talk. So that did detract a little bit from the experience, but yeah, what can you do? So those were our two tours we did by boat. We were also able to meet up with a second or third cousin of mine. His name's Stefan, and he's a member of Swedish SWAT. So it's kind of cool to get to sit down with him, have dinner with everybody, and kind of talk about life in Sweden and some of the similarities and differences, because all these countries in Europe are experiencing political strife just like in America, but just for a little bit different reasons, maybe not so different. But to hear about immigrants and the migrant crisis that's affecting a lot of Europe and the way a police officer kind of sees these problems was interesting and eye-opening, that's for sure. So it was great getting to meet him for the first time and talk about some of the current events that are going on around the world. So from Stockholm, we hopped in our rental car and went up to Smedjebacken, which is this little country town on a nice lake. We stayed at this little not Airbnb, but a bed and breakfast called Wanbo Herrgarden. And yeah, like I said, it was on a lake, so got to go swim in the lake a few times and get a little break from kind of that city life that I've been experiencing most of this trip. From there, we took our car to Kopparberg, which is the town my great-grandfather, Carl Gustav Ekberg, immigrated from in 1888 when he came to the United States. So it's cool to see that house is still standing there after almost 150 years, something like that. So get some of our Ekberg lineage and history covered in the trip. So from there we went to Uppsala, which is another small town a little bit closer to Stockholm, and met up with my grandpa's cousins, Karen and Sten. So kind of got a traditional Swedish lunch before we had to go check into our final hotel of the trip. So from there, the next day, me and my sister flew out to Denmark for Roskilde Festival. And one weird thing I should probably mention is the Stockholm airport, I believe that's Arlanda. We didn't get our passports checked once by anybody, so kind of scary to think that anybody with our confirmation code could have used our plane tickets, but hey, nothing bad happened, but food for thought, Sweden. So that about wraps it up for Sweden. Like I said, we went to Denmark from there, and I'll get into that the next video. But to get caught up on reading a little bit, had a few different books since I talked about reading in my reading list and a few videos ago, I believe. So to just do a brief summary of the few, The Psychology of Influence is one I started but I haven't finished, so I won't talk about that one quite yet till I'm done with it. The Concept of Anxiety by Kierkegaard, who is a Danish philosopher. I did finish that one, but I'll talk about that in my Denmark update, the next one. The one I'm currently reading is called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker, which is really, really interesting. Won a Pulitzer Prize, and once I finish it, hopefully I can finish it before the Norway update, and I'll talk about that in that video. But one book I have finished that I'll talk about in this video is Slaughterhouse 5 by Vonnegut. So some of you guys might have read this in high school, junior high, and it's his story of surviving as a prisoner of war in World War II. And it's a dark, kind of humorous at some points, but satirical novel about life and death. And it's very interesting the way he kind of writes the book. He talks about him traveling through time and time warping and being abducted by aliens, and yeah, so it definitely gives you a little bit different perspective on war, but it's, as you'd expect, it's a dark when you're talking about massacres of hundreds and thousands of people. So I'll give you a short quote from that. Definitely check it out if you didn't read it in high school or anything, because it's very approachable. So here we go. And Lot's wife, of course, was told not to look back where all those people and their homes had been. But she did look back, and I love her for that, because it was so human. So she was turned into a pillar of salt. So it goes. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time in the Denmark update, talk to you soon.